Hey everybody, this is Abby from Realistic Kitchen and Gardens doing week 10 post-frost garden tour. Today is July 27th. So, quick update in these herb beds. Horehound is adapting nicely. Winter Savory also crawling along. I had harvested my chocolate mint. And it's coming back well. Chamomile I snipped recently, so it didn't seed in these two pots. Spearmint, peppermint, ginger mint, sweet basil. This is Buckley oak leaf lettuce, and it doesn't care that it's almost 90 degrees, and I'm really happy. In the back is Butter Crunch. And by the way, this spearmint is flowering, and it's such a pretty flower. I wanted to mention that and I got distracted. Good old phone can't focus. Anyway, Florenza is doing nicely. All the flowers open now are from plants. So this plant, I can't remember now. I talked about it recently, but one of the plants that was direct seeded and the other was transplanted, and I can't remember which is which now, which is a bummer. This Florenza is basically dying off. It's at the end of its life cycle. This is the bed with the zucchini, which I'm pretty sure is, God, I forget this variety name now too, but I've actually planted two more seeds in here, direct seeding. So there's one right around here and there's one right around there, and that is a dwarf variety. And my radishes are finally starting to flower eons later. I had pulled out that gigantic radish that had been right there, but this is the stem of the zucchini, and this plant is just not doing well. And the problem with raised beds is just they dry out so quickly. You really can't keep them well hydrated easily without like a drip irrigation system. Here is the lemon balm that I bought as a start. It's starting to flower. It's had so much pressure from gosh darn Japanese beetles. Calendula is still carrying on. I don't do anything to this. Levage is carrying on too. Hi chickens, you're really hot, I'm sorry. These two rows that I did actually seed them with cover crop. I did a 50-50 mix of buckwheat and tiller radishes, and they may take off, they may not. Not the end of the world. Oh, we're gonna play this game now. Would you like to say hi to the people so we can avoid all the crowing? You gonna be a good boy? You say hi to the people? Leo? You're such a handsome rooster. It's too bad you're a jerk. Alright, you be a good boy and go back to bed. The potatoes are getting very ratty. So much for getting ahead of the crowing. Let's see. So these potatoes are so ratty. I could start harvesting them for new potatoes, but the russets, really importantly, I want to harvest them as main crop, so 2 to 3 weeks after all of the greens die off. So this one at the end is closer to completely dying off, but it's not there yet. Here's a good end view of the garden. I'm going to try to start remembering to do this for y'all, just for angles and stuff. Alright, starting at row A, I have this one dill plant that I direct seeded when I transplanted this. It's okay. Brussels sprouts are in, and I really need to get them covered because it's been so blasted hot, and it's actually supposed to be going up to like 92 or something like that. I think that's either tomorrow or the day after. I'll have to look. And then Here are the parsnips. I don't expect any activity from these guys for another 2 to 3 weeks. Probably 2 now, huh? And then these are all my carrots. Again, I'm not expecting anything from them for another 2 weeks, because that's just how things roll. And this row is a good example of, you know, how much wider I'm going to start making my rows in the transition. So this whole strip up here is row A, and then this strip down here is going to be a path. So right now I basically have all my tomatoes in the middle of my path until I can transition them. And I'm going to be moving this, so this stake and this stake would be row C. So that's basically smack dab in the middle, although a little sideways. My butternuts are starting to get big, and I'm so excited. I have one pumpkin right here. This was the original one. I believe this is Kai Kai variety, or Kakai, however you want to pronounce it. And then look at this little baby that just showed up yesterday. The blossom just fell off today. I was looking at it yesterday. Empty, morning glory, radishes, you know, all that. Actually, while I'm over here, let me show you. So that scrawny little, this is dill. This scrawny little plant down here, that is one of the oldest H19 little leaf cucumbers I have. Come here, dill. That's the oldest H19 little leaf cucumber I have right now, and it hasn't started yet. There's actually one right next to it. So there's that one, and then there's that one, and there's one more down here. And I planted 2 more. I planted 2 more over there where you see the little pieces of rope that Cosmos is ready to open. So they're getting there. Those are supposed to be pickling cucumbers. They're supposed to be really good. So far I've only seen how well resistant they are to cucumber beetles, which is good. It's a good bonus because I have them up the yin yang. But no cucumbers yet. No fruit yet. Probably the biggest nasturtium I have. And I have, this is as far back as I can get for y'all. This is my spaghetti squash plant. So there's 2 down there, and they're looking very yellow. So when they're fully ripe, they turn yellow, and then they will start to harden. Their skin will harden to be cured. And then there's 2 right here. So that's up to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There was 1 or 2 more originally, but they actually were aborted. As you can see, this plant is struggling a little bit. They're pretty wilty. We did get a smidge of rain last night, and I watered well the day before that. So, and I did fertilize it to try to help it along the end of its cycle here, because I'm pretty sure as long as the fruit are ripe, they'll keep curing. Most of these fruit look in good shape, but we'll see how it goes. There's the cantaloupe over there, still doing nothing. And this is probably the most dramatic change you guys will see, is I actually was out here yesterday pruning all these tomato plants. So these 1, 2, 3 are all of my San Marzanos. And to be honest, there's more fruit on these than I expected, but I finally pruned them. And I think they're supposed to be a determinate or maybe a semi-determinate, but some of these branches are actually like they started as what you would think of as a sucker on a true indeterminate, and they ended up having flowers on them. And the vines that have the fruit, so like this one down here, you can see I cut it. Well, maybe you can't see it, but I had cut it originally because they do that. They end up sending longer. They basically keep going to make more fruit, which I'm not mad about, but sometimes they get a little wonky, like this one's floating in outer space. But there's more fruit on these than I expected, and I'm excited. We're getting there. There's sunshine So another reason I pruned them is because one of the main prompts for these to ripen is sunshine. So this is the very first fruit, the very one at the bottom, the very first fruit I got on any of these. So that one's starting to ripen, and I think that is a 75-day variety post-transplant. So we'll see. There's another one tucking around here too. I'm gonna try to get this for you. Not grab it, but show you. There's my second Brandywine coming up, and the plant apparently decided to put on another one there. This Brandywine makes no sense. It has fruit down the bottom, and it has flowers up top, but then it'll stick out more flowers down the bottom. It's kind of random. And then this is the giant Roma that I got as a gift from one of my farmer friends. So that's a pretty nice looking fruit. We'll see how it does. Those 3 plants are doing pretty well. 1, 2, 3. And there's actually a 4th one here on the ground that I never planted, and it must have just gone crazy out of its pot. There's the Matt's cherry tomato. I finally cut one of the leaders along here somewhere. Gotta get going. Leeks are struggling. I think I'll pull these out, and the next time I make a batch of broth, maybe I'll open some of the jars I have and recan them. I'm gonna make some, it's called kakaliki, but it's an old term for chicken and leek soup. And it's just that. I mean, it's just chicken and leek. There's nothing else to it. Thai basil. This is Prism. We have a baby fruit starting again, and another fresh flower. That's how you can pollinate these if you're not getting good pollination, by the way. Just give them a good tap. This is gold. I can't remember the name exactly, but it's a yellow pepper. And it has a small fruit on here too, in there. I can't get this, there it is. It did have a flower on there too. I wanted to whack it. Basil struggling. And then here is the first of the Orange Sun and Vesuvius. No. Is it Orange Sun and Jupiter? I keep confusing them with, originally in the season I had a Thai chili that was over in the corner there, and it died in the frost, but that was called Moon and Vesuvius, the Thai chili. These are Orange Sun and Jupiter. Anyway, there's one pepper. So the reason it's called Orange Sun and Jupiter is that it's random. The seeds will, well, in the packet they'll be color coded, but for us as people that are buying the plant starts, we don't know if the adult fruit will ripen to red or orange. This is the one that died, and here is the white petunia that's stretched over here. This is starting to recover well. I finally set up that Japanese beetle trap, and this is recovering well. And I think this is the second one. No, it is the second one, because here's the other pepper plant that I forgot existed. There's another fruit on it. Ooh, there's a couple fruits on here. Look at you, you're fully loaded. 1, 2. There's one down there too. Oh, there's 2 down there. Oh, there's 3 down there. Oh my God, you're so loaded. I'm glad I didn't find you ripe on the ground. I can't get all those for you, but you get the gist. And then these are the last 2, Orange Sun and Jupiter. God, I will get that right one day. I'm so sorry. Here's another look at how sad this spaghetti squash is. And I don't know if you guys have actually seen this, if I've pointed it out properly, but it's 2 plants. So there's 2 plants right next to each other sharing the ground. And the longer plant, which is down further, is coming up and going all the way over and starting to come down this. And I originally joked, I hope this doesn't come all the way back down to the ground, thinking there's no way it would do that, but here I am, eating my own words. Let's go back down this row, and you guys will notice that I tore out more than half of my green beans. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's call it 10 Slenderette bush beans. These were the original, and these are the ones I actually like. They're still green, and it's still obnoxious to find beans, but these ones are way more apt to be straight. There's one. There, it's hot. So I tore all those out. I cut them down at the ground. There's a little stub of one because I didn't want to tear out all the soil I had in here because there isn't a hell of a lot anyway. So I then planted some, I think it's Velour, V-E-L-O-U-R, purple pod bush beans. So that's a 55-day variety, and they're planted in the same spot that these were. So they're gonna come up basically on this west side of the garden. And then let me just show off my celeriac because they're looking so good. I'm so happy. Look at that. And I actually pulled off a bunch of these. They're called horizontal. So when these fall sideways, you want to pluck them off, and it kind of creates this further root knob, basically, of the celery root, because that's what this crop is for. It's for the root. It's kind of like a celery flavored potato. But the greens are obviously edible too, but they're hollow compared to regular rib celery. So there's 10 of these in. I don't know when these will be ready. This is my first year growing them. Some sources say until the knot is all the way above the ground. And then other sources say when they're, 3 to 5 inches. And one of the gardeners in Ohio that I follow along with, she harvests in July. So I don't really know. And then these are the candy onions that I bought as starts. That one's starting to tip sideways, but maybe that one too. I'm gonna actually wait and see how big these get, because I do actually want them to be really big. They're not for storage, they're candy onions, so you basically just use them in like onion rings, or you can dry them into like dehydrated bits of, onion pieces, all that stuff. So we'll see. Okay, coming back along here and to where I have planted the most recent crop of cucumbers. That's a Telegraph. Technically there's two. I don't know if you can actually see the other one. It's kind of a funky. Oh, you're all twisted up. What's happened to you? Oh, I see. You do have both leaves though. There's that one, and then there's this one that looks happy. And then these are all H19 little leaf. So I planted 2 seeds in each spot. Gives me 50% guarantee. So one came up there, one came up there. I'm trying to label them with rope because weeds live free here, mostly because there's a theory in gardening that if you have native plants like this is a good example though, because if you have native plants like this lamb's quarters, which is edible, it's a good spinach substitute, native insects will eat this native plant and not your garden. So this is very nibbled on by God knows what, but it helps protect my plants a little bit. So I'll take a little bit over nothing. And then here's where both of the H19 came through. Here's another Cosmos blossom. Here's another one. I planted a ton of these if you haven't realized. I don't know how many that is. That would be, I know there's 3 Telegraph. There's this one and then 2 down the end. 1, 2, 3, 4. This was an H19 little leaf, but like other random bunches of things, they just die. And then there's these 3 plants I showed you from the other side because they're easier to see. And these don't really care that they're covered in grass. I should really weed them one of these days. This giant radish that's just having a grand old time. And as usual, more nasturtiums, more radishes. Oh, here's two more. Well, they haven't sprouted yet. I think this spot is too thick in clay for them, or something along those lines. These are supposed to be H19 little leaf, but I don't see these up yet, which doesn't mean they won't come. They're just not here yet. And then here is what the Pagnette cucumber looks like. So I've fertilized this, and there was a branch here that came out and was very wilty looking, like this, quite honestly. And I trimmed it, and there was a baby cucumber down there that I pulled off. So there's this new baby cucumber, and there's this new baby cucumber, and this stuff looks pretty bright. So I don't know if it's being bullied by things or what. Also, look at this lovely, like, double-leafed pink Cosmo. I am loving the flowers so much this year. This is the first year I've really done flowers on purpose, and I'm enjoying it so much. This was another patch for the second, Abby, Telegraph cucumber. And then here's the third spot. And it is coming up a teeny bit. Itsy bitsy, but it's coming. We all have to start with baby steps, right, chickens? You poor things are so hot. I should get you some frozen fruit or corn or something. Anyway, that's what I got. We have approximately 75 days left until our last frost. That will be enough for the bush beans. Those are 55 days when they start fruiting. And the cucumbers are all 50 to 55. These butternuts are supposed to be, I think, 100 some, as are, oh, here's a good example. The butternuts and the spaghetti squash are supposed to be like 100 some to fruit, which they're fruiting. Yeah, so those should have time, assuming those vines can hang on. Here's a good example of how plants manage to limit themselves, which I think is really cool, because I feel like humans have somehow lost this compared to like chickens and plants. They manage to maintain themselves. So this is a baby female flower, and you can see it's already yellow. So even though it's all closed up and it has a flower and all that, that means it's not going to get big, because this isn't, again, this isn't open yet. This is a male flower ready to, you know, it's so much bigger, not because it's a male flower, but this will get big when it's ready to open. I want to see if I can see one. Here's a good one. So here's, try not to get the sun in your eyes. So here's one that has gotten up to, you know, production size to open the flower, and the flower has opened, but it's turning yellow, I think. It's so dang bright out here. So this is being aborted because the plant knows it doesn't have the energy for it. And I'm pretty sure I've counted something like 8 or 9 adult fruits, like working on fruits on this plant. So it knows it doesn't have the energy for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oops, sorry. 7, 8. So there's 8 right now. And these are going to be real big fruit. So these will do well along with the pumpkin and the spaghetti squash. Though, to be honest, the spaghetti squash is all my husband. I am not a spaghetti squash person. I don't know what it is about it. It's just not really my cup of tea. It's too watery is my problem. It's not the texture. It's just that the texture isn't quite firm enough. And it's just too watery. So maybe this year I'll be able to maybe I'll be able to perfect the method to do spaghetti squash. So that'll do it. It's hot out, and I'm going to go back inside and have some water and pick these squash bugs eggs off. So if you like this kind of stuff, please like, comment, and subscribe for more.